this place feels enchanted to me. And every time I come here, I feel like deeply inspired to want to like write the history of every single person on the tombstones here. Even though I know nothing about them, I just like want to create all the time.
Hey.
Hey, man.
I've been trying to figure out how I can shoot stuff here and still incorporate you into those videos, even though you're not here. And I know we've done this a few times, and I figured I'd try something a little bit different. So tomorrow, I'm shooting with a poet who wrote a poem about death and really loves cemeteries. So I'm gonna meet her tomorrow morning at a really beautiful cemetery in West Philly, and I'm gonna have her read that poem, and I'm gonna interview her. All right. I have some questions for you about what questions you would ask her and what visuals you would shoot or visuals you'd like to see relating to a self-contained video, but also maybe on a larger scale, some questions that might relate back to what we're doing with Steven.
What is her work like? Like, how would you describe it?
It seems personal. Her work seems very personal.
We emigrated from Egypt when I was 5. Didn't really speak English when I came to America, and the experience and kind of culture shock of immigrating, I turned to storytelling, and I would tell myself stories, and I would practice my English through writing, and that was such a huge developmental part of my life.
Well, as you were talking, I was thinking, what happened? I mean, I think anyone who's focusing on death as a subject has a personal experience with death. I mean, we all do, but has a personal experience that touched them deeply enough to devote their thought towards it. Most people run away from it. So why is she running towards it?
I wasn't really exposed to death growing up. My mom and probably my father too, they were very diligent about protecting me from death. You can't change reality, and so death is the most inevitable thing of all. It is guaranteed. There is nothing that you can guarantee in your life except for the fact that it's going to end. But I don't know how to grieve. We're always afraid of our own deaths, but what we really should be focusing on is like how to be better as a society and as individuals, of how to process the death of our loved ones as opposed to worrying so much about ourselves, because it's gonna happen. And our loved ones will die, but are we prepared for it? And so I'm interested in death because we don't know what happens, but we have this giant library full of ideas of what could be, what should be, what might be, and no one has an answer.
Anyone who's writing about death is alive. So there's no understanding of what it truly means to be dead. It's more about what it feels to lose someone.
Which is like, death is for the living. I don't fear death itself. I do fear the effect that death has on the living. These were all people. These are all emblematic of the lives of these people. Like this enormous, enormous monument that we're sitting next to. And even the smaller ones and the ones where they're just like stubs, you know, like you can't even tell what they say. All of them were people, but somehow their social standing in the world is representative of their tombstones. And I don't know who the Morris family was, and I don't know who the Evans family was. I have no reference points to who they were, what they like to eat for breakfast, like what their hobbies were. All I know is that in death, they can express their social standing in the world. And strangers are gonna come through, and they're never gonna know who your favorite poet was. They're never gonna know, like, you know, that one argument that like broke you. None of that stuff is relevant, even though that's the stuff that makes you you. And that is super fascinating to me, because our fears and our secrets and the things that we think other people don't experience are what make us the most human. And for me, art is about humanity. It's about capturing what a gravestone can't say. Okay, I brought my book. Happy birthday poem. A wrinkle, a time in space. I trace Sharpie across the lines of your face. We age this way, knob-knuckled, our big toes pointing further from north. You wonder about the men you've slept with, about women who call lovers lovers, and think, is one more too many? Expect nothing and you will never feel again. You are worth more than a pint for a thank you, your gendered cursive, bending inexplicable. Fear nothing and you will never sleep again. But this voice, it will not carry, so you must teach the cat to speak in tongues. Pennies as worthwhile as bottle caps speckle the jar of your body. I trace Sharpie across the lines of your chest. Sternum, sturdy, sunspots, my speckled egg. We build a home in a bottle, vibrate our distant futures, unhinge doors with bare paws, lock jaws, and sing Elvis, smoke weed and sing Elvis, the floorboards doubled over and moaning, this house is a haunt. Black cat and broom, fog rising through the dust, the doorknob waits. There are characters in fiction that have not died. They do not get sung the happy birthday song, but you wonder if they imagine their death. Morticia Adams, scout, and think, will this be the bed I die in? Cool.